Good day, good evening, good night, and welcome to our 129th podcast. This is the Real Tennis Fans podcast. Apparently, I don't ever mention that in the beginning, and it's as if the podcast is called podcast, and it's not. It's not a cat. It has a specific name, and I am your host, Reels, the homosexual of the podcast. And this is I don't know if we are really the Federer of the tennis podcast anymore because Federer sort of like let us down today. But you know what? We were the Federer of the tennis podcast on the semifinals.
Oh my God. I don't even know. Actually, let's just not even say that. We weren't Federer at all this week. Federer has been let's be real. Like Federer's performance has been spotty at best.
Federer is 37, so I'm cool with that. But before I go any further, let me introduce my two co-hostesses with the mostesses. I've been introducing Janina from Far in Ohio all week first, so let me continue with that trend. Mm-hmm. And she's finally home, safe where she belongs, and she brought all the rains and all the fuckery that happened in Far in Ohio. You get to blame Janina for that, because when she left, shit just became a hot mess. Do we agree on that point?
Yeah. Totally.
And we have Andrine from Solely Tennis Travel, which I believe might be the last time for a week or so we might be talking to you from your home, California. Is that right?
No, I'm home for a while. I mean, I guess the next time we do this, we're going to be doing the draw, no?
Yes. Would you be home or would you be jet setting and leaving on a jet plane flying off to some exciting destination?
Nope, I'm just going to the U.S. Open.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's all.
Oh, that's all. No biggie. No biggie.
La-ti-da.
No, I mean, you know what? It's just weird because I'm just returning home. Like, I'm just returning to hang out with friends. The U.S. Open is, it's my back. It used to be my backyard. So,
yeah. I mean, your life is so mundane, just like going to the U.S. Open is just like, oh, wow.
Yeah, the streets. I like we have to fly out.
So, ladies, this Cincinnati tournament is over. And this is typically, I think, people sort of look forward to this event because everyone makes an effort to show up at this event. It becomes sort of like the bellwether of the. But I think it was also the bellwether because it was just rainy shit show, sloppy scheduling, et cetera, happened. And, I sort of found out that apparently you can't keep the courts dry any other way than just let water flood it a hole out and just wipe it up with towels. Apparently you can't cover it with tarp. That might be that seems to be an insane idea. But
no, it gets bubbly.
It ruins the courts. It's not an option.
Yeah, because it's too hot and the surface of the court is too hot, and then if you cover it up with the tarp, it doesn't actually.
Oh, the condensation and the heat and the cool on top of it.
Yeah,
okay.
It's not people just being lazy and stupid. There really is a reason they don't cover it up.
Although I'm sure I'm sure they could invent something.
That's what I'm saying too, because I just seem
to figure that out.
Because me having children on hands and knees with towels just seemed, 2018. It's 2018. I just kind of feel like that's a little odd. Yeah.
That's I think it bubbles up, so they can't do that.
And having like 15 million Zambonis, just like it's,
oh Lord.
Yeah, it's just
okay.
Well, I think it's funny. The more I think about it, though, with like climate change and extreme weather. I mean, I think because tennis is something that really prioritizes itself as a sort of outdoor sport, it's probably going to have to start thinking about that in the next couple of years.
I'm surprised they're not thinking about that, considering that they're spending so much money on roofs and whatever, and they only build a roof on one or two
slams. Think about it.
One or two stadiums, and there's so many courts to cover. Because, I mean, rain affects everyone, right? It's not just, play on center court.
No, but I'm talking about... I think they really focus on the slams, but if you think about the calendar, there are really only 4 slams. The majority of tennis is happening elsewhere.
Right.
So as we think about sort of the extreme weather conditions that we experience a little bit this summer, I don't know. It could be, I mean, tennis is just it's an outdoor sport. So I'm curious to see whether they begin to think about that stuff. Like DC was almost unplayable at times, and Cincy was just very lucky in the end.
Right.
Didn't have any rain, so No, I don't know.
I was actually surprised after all that weather, all that lightning, whatever, when Stan and Federer was playing, that they went out afterwards, because initially my tennis app showed me that the match was scheduled for Saturday, that they were going to complete the match Saturday. And then I was just like, wait, why? It finished? They went back out there after all of that. Like, it looked like, like a cyclone was coming. They decided to, I was just like, okay, tennis doesn't care anyway. I mean, it's making this point about, the show must go on. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they would care about those things, because, usually money people are conservative people and they don't believe in science. They just believe in money. So, it's going to be a while, because you remember when the US Open was like, we can't put a roof on that building. We just cannot.
It's so weird. And then they figured it out.
Structurally impossible. Then all of us are like, oops, we're getting a roof. Like, what? We saw there was no engineering report. There was nothing to say. It was just like, boom, roof is going up. Here's what we have. We're going to put up like an umbrella. And this was like, in 2 years, then now they broke down. Not only did they get a roof, they got two roofs, because they broke down Louis Armstrong to build another Louis Armstrong with a roof. So, hey.
Roofs everywhere, apparently.
I know.
That's how we deal with global warming.
When it's not affecting their bottom line. So I imagine that when there will be tournaments that are just washed out for the entire week, are just like Sahara Desert outside, and players are just like, yeah, we can't, this can't happen.
Might never happen.
That's when they're going to be like, when they only have a first round, like we only play the first round, and then that's just it.
People leave. Can you imagine? It rains the whole week, rain, thunderstorm, whatever, and then the whole week passes. The term's like, oh, just not giving out this trophy this week. Bye, y'all.
But I guess when I imagine when Federer and Vidal and the likes them were pulling in top ad dollars and coverage, where they could be like, I fuck this shit. When the young players start getting a little bit more coins in their pocket, they're gonna be like, you know what? I'm out of here this tournament. What? 2 days of rain? Nope. Not sticking around to play 3 matches in 1 day. I don't need the money, people. I don't need the money.
They need the points. They'll stay.
Not really though.
Watch.
I think at some point, it just takes one person to start advocating whatever, but I mean, but they don't lose anyway. I mean, seriously, I don't know people fighting for these points that they don't really win. But anyway. So Cincinnati is over, and apparently there is Winston-Salem. Do they even make cigarettes anymore? But anyway, they have a tournament. And we have New Haven, which used to be Pilot Penn, that used to be a men and a women's event. It used to be a women's event and became a men's and women's event, and now it's back to being a women's event. So that's on tomorrow, and I see Simona Halep and Petra and Garcia signed up for that event.
Well, let's see who actually shows up there, because I'm not buying it.
True. Carol usually shows up there, So
Halep looks like she's about to crawl under a rock and sleep for 3 weeks.
But doesn't she look like that every day?
No.
Really?
Really.
I've never seen Simona happy and excited except when she was in Romania with that trophy. Every day on court, she just looked like you can never tell whether she's winning or losing.
I'm not talking about her facial expressions. Simona is fit. She is so incredibly fit. And she looked like she was gassed out, spent, done, tired. That woman needs to rest. So she's a fool if she shows up to play anywhere next week. She needs to rest.
But I tell you who will be playing next week for sure. It will be Dominic Thiem. I don't know where he will be playing, but he will be at a tournament.
He'll probably be the lucky loser in her part of the draw and over a wig.
I don't think so. I think he's gonna take a break. Maybe he'll finally take a break in a draw.
Let me look that up for you right now and tell you whether he is in a draw somewhere.
You are such an asshole.
So what are the money? So let's put a bet on this. What do you ladies say? Do you say he's in Winston-Salem? Because there's only one tournament, one sanctioned tournament. He might find someone.
He'll find a challenger. He'll
find something. Actually, I think there are rules. He might not be able to play challenges.
Oh my God.
So what do you ladies say?
All right. What's going on?
Before we go forward, Andreen, you said he's in a draw?
No, I don't think he's in a draw.
Janina?
I think he plays somewhere.
I think so too. Let's see. Wow, this is rather interesting. It looks like the top seed for Winston-Salem went out. Whoever that was, there is no number one seed anymore.
Oh, no. It was
Gofan? Yeah.
Okay, so then though he was not. So Janina Andre won this round. He was not.
You know what? The only reason why I'm convinced of it is because he's here and he's got a girlfriend and he's probably just going to try to enjoy New York with the girlfriend. I'm sure she said, listen, don't be an idiot. Get your ass to New York.
Kiki, if that club has more men than women, it is a post office girl and you shouldn't be in there, okay? Think about that, okay?
Kiki.
All right, let's rock and roll.
Don't let them fool you with all those makeup tips, girl.
Rock and roll with the Cincy.
Okay, yes. Yeah, so let's deal with the women. Serena was here and she looked good. I would say that. She looked, she's increasing.
She lost to Petra, yeah. Mm-hmm.
She lost to Petra, and that was a good loss. I think she, and they were playing at night. You see, that was a mistake. Had that been in daytime, it would have been a done and dusted Serena.
No, but she took it 3 sets, right?
Yeah, it did go 3.
It did go 3 sets.
Actually, she was looking better and better as that match went in. She was but do you see when we talked about whether we wanted Serena to keep playing or not? Like, that's what I meant in the sense that I felt like she was like tightening up her game as the match was going on. And I just hadn't encountered like a pretty good Petra at that moment.
Exactly. It was a good, solid player.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, she's really like getting her feet under her now. I feel like she's tightening up her game more. And then here comes Petra. So there were some great rallies in that encounter. That was really good. Were you there? You got a chance to see it live, right, Janina?
I saw most of it. Yeah, I didn't. I saw the first set. Then I left. And then I came back. Yeah, I went and watched stupid Svetlana lose. And then I went back to Serena and Petra. So, yeah, I saw. The match was tighter than that scoreline looked. I'll tell you that.
It did.
They played some really good points. It was a well fought battle. Didn't feel bad that. I mean, of course, as a fan, I want Serena to win, but it was okay. Like you said, that was a good loss. It was.
Yeah, I think you can make some honest assessment of her game and see what
her to play more. She just needs to keep playing. Damn it.
Well, I mean, you know what? Petra is a better competitor for a better competition for her than a Kiki Burton's or a Halep, really.
I don't doubt that, and I don't disagree with it, but I still think she needs match play. That's what's missing right now for her.
I think because for me, I think she knows she's gonna roll up. She's seeded, so she's gonna be somewhere in the 20s or something like that. So she's seeded, so she doesn't have to worry about like a top player, until the 3rd round. And I think she can handle these little Gavrilova S type, whatever, because the way she snatched Gavrilova's wig and just kind of dusted out, I was surprised. So I think, like the easy building blocks, she can work her way into the US Open.
Let's hope so.
She just needs to, think, and it is probably her favorite slam. It's the place where she has gotten to the semis or quarters nearly every single time she's played. At the very least, so she knows her way around there. I think the crowd would definitely support her. Finally, fully embrace her, and not just for the only time they did was for that 2015. But they just wanted to be part of a moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me saying that, because I know New York didn't really love Serena. They don't really, but hey, they love her in Paris, though. They definitely love her in Paris.
Maybe they'll find a renewed sense of excitement over Serena now that.
Yeah, because I mean, let's be 100. Halep ain't bringing it. Halep ain't bringing that kind of it.
Yeah, she's not. Oh, you know what? Halep has a strong fan base. I think they're very loud.
They're patriotic fan base, but
they're like a list. Is there like a data? Is there a listserv where they tell you news about where? Is it like Hewitt? Remember when Hewitt folks would just randomly show up at places?
Or like J Block?
Yeah. Halep has a fan base and listserv.
They do. I mean, if people are here making spreadsheets and charts, I mean, God knows, it ain't that hard for them to come up with Simona's schedule where she would be.
Did y'all watch that final?
Huh?
Did you watch her final today?
Yeah, I did. I mean, like, and everything that happened, it was very predictable.
Oh,
I was not surprised by anything. I mean,
Simona's final?
yeah, I knew the problem was I knew someone was going to be in trouble when Petra let Kiki get into the finals. I was just like, if Kiki can find her way out through Simona, through Petra, Kiki was feeling it, because she's on some top 10 winning streak or some mess like that.
Yeah, she is. Well,
so,
she's what she had to take out. What did they say? 4 top 10 seeds to get to that final.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she was definitely feeling herself.
She's doing well.
And I listened to the coaching, much to my chagrin, had no other choice but to. But Darren was telling Simona, try to get rid of her legs. And I was just like, have you seen Kiki's legs? Have you seen Kiki's legs? Those things are some trunks, okay? Kiki got legs, okay? You needed to, as Andreen said, you needed some kill shots, girl. Like your tennis, it's a hard court. You cannot be out here in the hot sun, middle of humid hot summer, trying to break players down match after match after match. Girl, you ain't got that kind of energy, strength, and speed. You just don't.
Well, so, I mean, it was who, for Kiki or for
Simona would have had it if she wouldn't have went so deep into Toronto, because that is kind of what she does.
No, well, Simona should have had it in straight sets.
No, also Simona shouldn't have won Toronto. Like if Sloane hadn't let herself get distracted by Simona's mess in the middle. Remember, Simona supposedly had some sort of like blister on her foot, and I mean, Simona's always slightly wounded as she wins these matches, and I think she. I mean, I was like, all right, girl, you're slightly wounded, but you're coming back. You just can't let her. You can't let her get ahead in her mind. Like I think Simona really, really wanted the double. I think she wanted the Montreal Cincy double, because no one has done that on the women's side for like what 30 years, I guess.
Oh God.
Yeah, as many.
I didn't even know that was a thing, really, but whatever.
I mean, it's mostly been a thing on the men's side. People have only really ever talked about it on the men's side. This is the first time it was even in conversation, at least for a while.
It's really been done on the men's side as well.
Yeah, it's not a thing that happens. I think it's like 4 people who've done it.
Yeah. It's very difficult to do. I mean, because
back. And you could see it because Simona ran out of gas at the end.
She totally ran out of gas.
Exactly. And that because she should have handled that match in straight sets.
Simona running out of gas is beautiful to see because her entire game is built on letting other people run out of gas.
Right.
Exactly. And that was what I was saying. Just say, girl, if you know, you must feel like you are getting exhausted. Stop monkeying around with Kiki, because Kiki was just like, just stay around. Just stick around. Just stick around.
No. Not to stick around. You know what? Because when she was sticking around, she was losing. I do think that when she sat down with her coach and her coach asked her, what's working in this? Why are you up 4-1? And she's like, I'm taking chances. I'm taking risks. And he's like, mm-hmm. So he's like, what should you keep doing? And she's like, probably more of the same. And then she really started going for her shots and she started coming forward.
You mean 4-1 in the third set?
No. In the second set, and then it got away from her again. She was doing well in the second set, and then she lost her way, and then she found it again, got herself, and then Simona fought back. And Simona, midway through the second set, Simona was like, "I'm really tired there."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she clearly began to fade. Like you knew that when she didn't win that in 2.
Yeah,
she probably
it was over. Yeah,
wasn't winning at all. So, hey, good for Kiki. She got herself a
big tournament.
Who knows what it's called? A Premier
I don't know
Series
the point
mandatory, convoluted fucktard trophy. I mean, I can't keep up.
It's a big one. It's a big one on the W2.
She won a big one, so good for her.
Well, and she got some good scalps on the way. Like I think,
she sure did.
Top 10 players or something she beat. So
that just means that Kiki's gonna lose in the third round at the US Open.
Doesn't matter though. She got a big title of her career. She was thinking of retiring, I think, last year. She was she was not enjoying herself. She thought she just wasn't playing well. And she had a new coach, new mentality, and she decided, she said, to try to enjoy herself more.
The WTA is a party. They give everybody a chance to dance. It's like the Soul Train
Stop.
everybody gets a chance to be out there and do it. And I like it. I mean, it worked. Right? I mean, like, might not
It
be
is
my
so good.
fave, but I mean, like, hey, there's a dance for everyone. There's a song for everyone. Last year, Venus had a lot of songs. She didn't get to quite, she couldn't last for the last couple's dance. She wasn't there for last call, but she was there close to the end, and that was exciting for her fans.
Yeah.
But this year around, there's some new people.
What do you guys think? What do you think about the new Simona era? That's kind of emerging.
This is an era?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm pre-calling it an era before everybody starts doing it.
Okay.
So what do you think of her now as a number one player?
Well, I mean, I guess it's okay since she finally won a slam. I'm okay with it. It is what it is. She doesn't excite me though. She really doesn't.
Begrudgingly, Janina. Begrudgingly. It's just like, well,
I know. Yeah. You know what? It really makes me sad because when Simona first appeared on the scene, I actually really liked her. I was excited to see her live at the US Open. I did see her lose the first round. It was hilarious. But now I kind of think, I don't know, she just doesn't do it for me. So the fact that she's sort of number one and she's kind of solidifying it, she's being more consistent. I wish I was excited by her play. But she's not an enjoyable number one for me. But I think she has stepped up her game. Getting to finals is, consistently getting to finals is good for her. Winning RG.
She doesn't have a good track record in winning titles, apparently.
Well, I mean, honestly, when I was watching her today give her speech after she lost and watching her reactions to Kiki, I just thought she's really good at losing.
But here's the other thing too. Simona never seems to win the titles when she's the favorite.
She wasn't.
Well, maybe she can't handle that
pressure. She wasn't the favorite. No, I think people expected Sloane to handle that because Sloane was coming into her own on the hard court. That was a toss-up, I thought, and I thought in the French Open finals, people had Sloane winning it because Simona had shown that she choked away these opportunities all the time. And Sloane was coming in off of like a horrible post US Open win, and then this was where she was finding herself. And she plays very well on clay. Clay was not an unusual, odd, surface for her. And Simona was able to eke that out, especially from a comeback when she was supposed to be down on herself. But whenever she's winning, I find that when this match was supposed to be Simona, it was Kiki Burton.
Mm-hmm.
But Simona just somehow found a way to just trip all over herself and be a mess. And if you look at the number of titles she has, I think she doesn't have a lot. I mean, like she's just been consistent on the main tour.
That's why I said she's really good at losing.
Right. She gets to the semifinals, she gets to finals, and whatever the case may be.
She's really good at the loser's speech in a final. She's really good at controlling her facial expressions and smiling while the other person is taking their acceptance speech. Yeah, she's really good at that. That's a special talent. Everyone doesn't have it. Some people leave their trophies in their chairs and just walk off court. Simona, she carries that shit with pride.
Oh, like Sloane. Sloane's good at that.
Here's the other thing I think which is missing from Halep. You just never feel afraid of Halep. You just never feel like...
I kind of did that a little bit this week. I was like, she was everywhere. Afraid in the sense that she was everywhere. Not dominant in like, oh my God, this person's going to hit you off the court, but more just like, this girl's going to grind you down. That's the thing I leave thinking about Halep now as the number one players that she's going to...
Well, most number one players come in with some sort of the top number one players, I should say, right? They're coming with some sort of heft. Like they come in and it's just like Muhammad Ali versus I don't know Sonny Liston. You just feel a sort of there's a big weight coming in here, like Usain Bolt on the lining up. It's just like he comes in off. There's a name. There is like a hype. Simona just comes in like, hi, I'm Simona.
I think people now.
That's for me. I feel like I can't craft any kind of killer instinct narrative. They keep telling Killer K, like he looks like the sweetest man ever. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same vibe, but I definitely feel like she's definitely cultivated this thing where if you're gonna beat her, remember that was what she wanted, right? She wanted to be known as Fighter Girl. And I think she's actually succeeded in making it very clear that if you're going to beat her, you're going to have to grind her down to the dust. Either you're going to beat her off the court, which is like how she was beaten at Roland Garros last year, or you're going to have to outlast her. And I think the thing that we know on the tournament is that very few of the women can outlast Simona now.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Simona will get through from her side of the draw.
Yes.
But the girl on the other side of the draw ain't playing Simona until she gets to the final. And she meets her tired, exhausted. We know she goes away mentally. That's the easy bit. That's the given. Right? She's really ever in the match from the jump, from beginning to the end. So you just have to sort of like wait her out. I think this is the problematic strategy that they're employing. Yeah, she's fit and whatever the case. I mean, that's cute and that's good. But you can't be playing every single match, running up and down. You just can't. It's not going to. You're going to get these kind of results. So if they're happy,
well, Rafa does it. Why can't she do it?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like she's.
I mean, it can work. You can't.
I'm so happy you all can't see my face.
But it can work.
Rafa has a different biological body that defies all medical convention.
It doesn't break
down. But you know what? It can't work for everybody anyway. Because here's the thing: even on the men's side, where everybody is trying to be like, oh, we want to be an all-court player, we want to be rallying from the baseline. They're not producing. There are no clear court specialists anymore. They're not.
I don't think that has so much to do with the players. That has to do with the fact that the surfaces are pretty much the same.
But still,
I think that's a fair argument.
Not a bad strategy for Simona. I mean, Simona can get, we don't have that many women on the tour who have big serves and are going to take their game to her, right? It just hasn't happened yet. So I actually think she has a pretty good
consistent big serve, I think you mean.
Exactly. Like a consistent big server, forehand, knock her off the court, don't have time to go on these 20 billion shot rallies.
Right.
You already know that on the men's side that's something that happens. It's rare that these big servers also have good movement and are doing anything different out there on the men's side. So I think it's been a really winning strategy for Rafa. I don't see why it won't translate for Simona.
Yeah, but it hasn't.
We'll see.
It hasn't. It hasn't so far. It really hasn't. Oh, I mean,
well, Short has. She won a slam.
She won a slam, and she
won the French Open.
Cut it out.
That's it. But I'm just saying that she's struggling on the regular tour. Well, Rafa wasn't struggling on a regular tour.
We'll see. Only time will tell.
Exactly. Who right now was impressive enough for you that you thought that they were going to offer something? Because guess what? Who looked great and then went out with a whimper? Petra looked great.
Yes, that's about it, really. But you see, I don't trust Petra because what happened? I mean, I haven't heard anything from Muggs, which means Muggs is going to win the U.S. Open.
Cut it out.
That's how she operates
right now.
She's got post-surgery injury issues, I think.
She had surgery?
She was just injured. I think she's coming back from injury.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know Muggs kind of like a silent killer. She just rolls up in there like a ninja. Muggs is the real ninja, not Aga. Muggs is.
Can we talk about? Wait, did Aga play this tournament?
She did.
She did.
She lost to someone early.
So is Aga like quietly going away without us knowing? Is this how she's going to roll out?
Or quietly coming back because she hasn't been around?
This is how Janina likes it, right? This is the kind of ninja that she likes about Aga. You just don't see her.
Maybe she has been around, but she looks so different. We didn't even recognize her because I'm telling you, she has had some major work done to that face. Her nose is different. Her mouth is different. She just is different. She's had some surgery. Her lips are like 3 times the size that they used to be, and it ain't because she's using plumping lip gloss.
Oh. Apparently Sabalenka might be a thing. So she might be doing something at US Open.
We'll see.
I like Sabalenka theoretically. I like a big ball basher with the best of them. But I don't like a useless ball basher.
Let's talk about the men.
I need a little bit I need something with a little bit more margin.
Oh my God.
Oh, she lost first round to Pliskova.
Who?
Aga.
Aga.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then what happened in Pliskova? Nothing. I didn't even see
You know
her.
what?
Yeah.
Pliskova used to perform pretty well here. She stopped Kerber from getting the number one.
She won. Yeah, she
she's
won.
coming back from a wedding, so she
Yeah,
she's
that's true. She did just get married, dumbass.
But people are gonna mention Ashley Barty. I mean,
and
you
Kerber.
are gonna
thing,
mention
thing.
Ashley Barty more than anyone.
Well,
I
before
assure
we-
you.
Girl, they will. You keep sitting there,
You
keep
will.
thinking they won't.
You keep bringing her up.
Muggs. I thought Muggs was gonna do something and then lost it to Sarenko.
Yeah.
But I also thought that I for a minute there I thought Azarenka was looking okay.
She was looking good.
She was, right?
I was just like,
no,
yes,
she was looking good. She just came
Vika is
up
back.
against a very informed. Who'd she lose to? Garcia
Garcia
looked great.
Garcia looked good, but I mean, like Garcia would look good.
Sometimes, and then she gets to this other one person, and it's like 2-2.
No, but I watched that match. I watched
Did you?
almost all of it live until I got so hot I couldn't stand it anymore.
Azarenka was sloppy, made some crazy reckless errors.
But the flip side of that is Garcia was playing sharp, good tennis.
Yes, she was playing sharp, good tennis, but I mean, Azarenka gave away that match.
I don't think so.
But you know what? Her problem is that what is going to be, I think, which is her Achilles tendon. You know, she was able to get away from a horrible serve, right? She was able to get away with that, right? She wasn't the best server. If you watch any of those Serena matches,
well, sure.
But no, the serve is a huge liability. She can barely hold serve.
I think that Azarenka is going through some similar things as Serena and Petra, aka get some fucking match play. Their games are there. We see glimpses of the brilliance in every single match they play. They just need to play.
Petra, just so you know, Petra has the most titles of the year on the women's side, you know. So Petra has had a lot of match play.
Petra's always all over the place. I mean, this is typical Petra, but she needs Serena, Vika, they need to get their ranking up so that they aren't facing each other round one, first of all, or all these top ranked players. And two, they just need to play. Like, you can enter 50,000 tournaments, but if you lose in the first round every time or the second, you're not getting that consistent match play. That's what they need. Vika looks good. She looks good. She looks really fit. She looks really fit and strong. She looks physically good. And her game it's like it wants to be there, and it is there in moments. I think she just needs to play more.
Yeah, but you know
she needs to not be injured. She keeps getting silly injuries.
I mean, I think what we also have to admit, to be honest, and this is a thing that I think the tournament has always said, and this is something we've always admitted about the WTA. People will come for you. And I think nobody has time anymore. Like, I really think that people are really strong from the get. And you're just not going to work here. I mean, I think even Sharapova had to say that to herself. You know, she was like, we just don't have the time to work our way into matches anymore. It just feels like people are coming at us. Yeah. And I think that's what you're seeing. I mean, you know, call it like a change in the tour. Call it
the ladies are saying old bitches need to come.
There was a lot.
You know what? And I wish men on the ATP would do this.
Wait, real Janina.
There was a whole lot of talk about that when I did the coaches roundtable. This question came up over and over and over again about how the WTA is changing as far as style of play and the depth of the tour now compared to the depth of the tour, 10 to 15 years ago. And when you have such a dominant champion like Serena Williams, it kind of takes away from what everybody else is doing consistently because they're not able to win. So you don't notice them as much. But now that we've seen with Serena being gone and we see all these different winners all over the place, you get a better appreciation for actually what's happening in the WTA, and the depth is pretty damn good, which is why you don't have somebody dominating, which is why you have Maria and everybody saying you don't have time to work your way into a tournament because you really do have a good, solid crop of players as a whole.
Yeah, and the draw, I mean, it's interesting because people have been talking about changing the draw to like spice things up. I don't really think you need that on the women's side. I really don't. I think what you have is like, I think between the increase in fitness, which I think that was something that the women brought. I think that's what people initially blamed the Williams sisters for that, but that was brought on tour. You had to up your game fitness wise, and that's big. Now you've got like the professionalization.
Really? Was squatting in your face.
But you know what? But it didn't change what was happening between her and Chrissy, and people didn't perceive Chrissy as some sort of like gym bunny. So that perception that the sport needed to become physical. Now, listen, it might have been. I'm sure it was probably racialized, but nonetheless, the assumption was we're gonna have to up our game. We're gonna have to be physically fit, and then you also have the professionalization behind the scene, right? The coaches, the physio, all of that is playing a part, and then you also have the technology, right?
Yeah.
Technology, and so now people,
it requires you to be fit. You can't be slugging around these same slow hard courts that the men are playing on without being fit.
And the strings you have, if you're not fit, your body cannot deal with those strings. So that's another part of it, I think. So what you have overall is like a crop of women who are just really strong. Like, I mean, I'm curious now if like when Clijsters had returned to the tour at this point in time, would she have even succeeded in getting through some of those slams? You know, I mean, and we're seeing it happen with Serena now. It's like she's that much older, a touch slower, and now she's countering people, and you're like, oh damn, give her some.
Right. No, you're right.
This is going to take her time to make up, and it's the same thing. They're not having.
And then they can't get quick, cheap points because the courts are slow. So
well, at any tournament, and you look at the draw, you've got at least 10 people who could potentially win, and they're all legit title contenders.
Yep,
all of them. You know, it's not like, well, if she has a good run. No, there truly are legit. You really can. You have a lot of women who can come through.
Well, we
get a title.
This is something
and
we
you
have
see
said
that
here.
on the men's side. That's totally different thing playing out of the
we
men's
say
side.
for the women, it's once you take Serena out of the equation. I mean, like a regular Serena, it's a free for all.
For me though, what I'm saying for me is that I kind of just always, and I still do put Serena on a pedestal because she still is, head and shoulders above the rest of everybody when it comes to overall talent. She is, even if she's not there right now, but career-wise, obviously, she's just better. So when you have her on the scene and she's healthy and she's winning everything, for me, I tended to look at the rest of the tour and think
backup singers.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm thinking, you're good when Serena's not around. I wasn't willing to give them credit for winning when she wasn't around. If you can't do it while she's there, it made me think like, yeah, you're consistent, but you're not really that good.
You're being like, no, they fam. They put an asterisk.
Well,
no, they wasn't around before 2008. So all of Federer slam is shit.
The difference is I'm willing to admit it. They'll never admit it. Never.
Well, they don't admit it. They just put it in a different skill. They're trying to say Federer 20 and legit.
It's fine.
But that's good. But no, I mean, but you make a fair point though. Sometimes when you have an overwhelming champion, you lose sight of the fact that other people were pretty great and have been getting better.
Yeah, who remembers all the great that plays with Michael Jordan? No one.
Even though
it's true though. I mean, it's true.
Charles Barkley has to be out here tapping for some change. He got no ring.
And the truth of it is, you're right, because once you eliminate her. And also, that's the thing, too, is the reality is the parity at that level is pretty much the same.
Right. Once
we take Serena out, everyone is on par with each other. In the men's side, you take out the top 4 guys, and then
it's all over the place.
That's the parity, too. It's just that it's rare for you to take out 4 at once.
Exactly. It's difficult. It's difficult. It's very difficult. And it's when someone like Fonini is gonna sneak up in there and be like, "Wait a minute." So tell me they got out of here.
Yeah, like Jack Sock is a fucking master.
Like, oh, wait a minute. Let me get in on this action. And Isner. Thanks, Delpo.
But think about that. The reason why let's be honest, let's be 100. The reason why Jack Sock ended up with a Masters was because Novak Djokovic was out, Rafa withdrew, and Federer didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Andy was also problematic. So
Andy wasn't there. Now Stanley wasn't there. Ferrer is not himself anymore.
I know.
So,
I mean, that's what it is. You ended up with
parity.
parity.
Dominic can't play inside, and then Sasha was always a toss up. So hey.
So there you go. But no, good on you. I mean, that's true. I mean, that's why it's a free for all come the US Open. So we'll look forward to our draw.
Yeah, and I said it. I said you could pick all 128 girl 32. I think it's 128 girls in a hat and pick a name out, and she might stand a chance of winning.
It's true.
She's there.
All right, let's talk about this men's final.
So talk about the men. So Rafa didn't show up. He needs to rest his body. You know, first time he's an adult, he didn't even put in an excuse. He called in and said, I'm taking a sick day.
Yeah, good for him.
Didn't even need a doctor's note. Didn't even get a doctor's note.
If you want to defend the U.S. Open, it's a good, smart move. Well done. That's a great move for him.
Because, you know, Kevin Anderson is behind you trying to grab your title. So you got to be ready for that. And you have great goals. But, you know, for me, my takeaway from the men's final, the men's tournament, is that, you know, the men ain't shit. I'm just saying.
You're such an asshole.
You know, and I'm going to let me qualify my statement. And then, you know, Auntie Andrine is going to come for me and tell me, you know, I ain't get it right. But I'm just saying. And this is not because of, you know, Federer losing in the final. I'm not mad at 37-year-old couldn't handle a 31-year-old in the finals when 3 under 30 players had him against the rope and just decided, you know what? Good on you. Take this. I don't want it anymore. Grigor, Raonic, Cilic. All 3 men had Novak against the rope.
Yep.
And all 3 men decided, you know what? I don't want this match anymore. Fuck this shit. I'm not interested in winning this. Let me give you the chance to get your shit together and beat me. While you're not playing well, let me even play even worse and let you raise your level of the game. Because this is what happens all the time. Is that these men always wait for the top guys to raise the level of their game, and then they drop theirs. While whatever's working for them, they just decide, let me try a different strategy. That was working for me. But you know what? I won't let that work for me anymore. Let me wait for him to get his shit together. 3 men. Grigor could have finished that match in straight sets. Could have. Wasn't interested. Come back the next day with fresh legs. And shit show. I mean, I've been saying this for a while. I think it's now a legit time for us to pretend Grigor doesn't exist anymore. Because he is not willing to do anything. He's not interested in doing anything about his game, his career. He just want to put suntan lotion on. I don't know what his girlfriend's name is. Because, you know, I don't really look at the women. But whatever her name is, he's more interested in being that. But, girl, if you want to be an accessory to a woman, you need a woman with much more A-list quality. Not qualities, A-list status. You know what I mean? So you have to go hang out with a Lady Gaga. I don't know. A Beyonce. Does she have a husband already? You know, but yeah, Grigor doesn't do anything right.
Well,
he just seems to just get it all wrong. Even when you try to give him, when there's clear signals, you know, there's clear signposts what to do. He doesn't even get it right. I mean, Goffin. Though Goffin didn't win that year in the Masters, Goffin was the biggest story of the thing because he beat Federer. So I don't know. For me, Grigor is just, you know, not even looking at him anymore, not paying attention. But for me, the biggest takeaway for the men is just like, y'all are going to continue to let these older men, these top 4 win because y'all are not interested in winning.
I don't know if they're not interested in winning. They just can't. Like, I mean, honestly, I think about, listen, love Federer. But Federer should not have gotten to that final playing in the form that he had. And the same thing even for Novak Djokovic. Like realistically, you got like the blockbuster final that you wanted, but then you also got the final that you deserved because it was like Federer should not have been in that final. He was scratchy all week, patchy all week. And it's like, I mean, I can't even deal. I mean, it's a similar thing even with Rafa in
Montreal,
in Toronto,
Toronto,
right? In Toronto, you're looking at him and you're like, you shouldn't get to this final because another player younger, fitter than you should probably have taken care of you. And guess what? Nope. Cilic has you on the ropes and he lets you off the hook. Same thing with, I mean, so it's like realistically what you end up with is a real sort of mixed bag kind of like match where it's just like
you can't even say that they're really playing all that well because they're beating players who are not winning, who are not playing exceptionally well either.
Exactly. So then, sometimes you look at Federer and he's like scratchy and whatever, and then he gets his game well and then you see it. But honest to goodness, this has been there were moments in this match where it was the best I've seen Federer put together rallies in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing it in the final. Do you know what I mean? Like
right.
He had made it through a sort of storm of crap and then still made it to the final. And I was just like, yeah, he wasn't rallying balls well all week. And you're just like, what's going on? And his return game was poor. So it was just, and also even Novak. I mean, Novak, as good as he was, you still felt like if Federer had been able to just dial in a few, he would have been able to take this to maybe 3 sets. You know, it's just like, there wasn't a sense of like
Novak didn't look stellar.
He didn't look stellar. Federer had errors
plenty
up
of
the wazoo,
right?
Double faults,
getting
broken. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is stupid.
And then losing from 40 love up, like
he made
quality
a bunch
play,
of mistakes.
Just really poor quality tennis. You know what I mean? Like that.
You know what? I'm thinking,
and that's my problem. Like I was like, I'm
watching this shit. I'm like, is this what match fixing really looks like?
You always with that.
No, you know why? Because when the tennis is so bad, you start to look for reasons why, right? Because you're like,
exactly. I needed a reason.
Because Novak was serving yes, he had some good service, but partially it was just Federer's poor return game. But there were so many moments
where you thought so many second serve. It's like watching Cilic and Vidal. Like, how many second serves will you get till you figure out just crack on this shit? Make him think about.
But see,
the quality was just really bad.
Against Cilic, Novak had those 70-mile-an-hour second serve.
And
he pulled that shit on Federer one time, and Federer hit that screaming forehand down the line for a winner, and he didn't do it again. So it's like, pay attention, people. Pay attention. So if Cilic would have if Cilic would have done that one time, he would have done it again.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking. I am not surprised by this result, right? Because Nole has been on the upswing, right?
Sure.
Finally now we can admit out loud by the tennis professional the thing that real tennis fans has been saying from the jump. Nole look emaciated come the beginning of the year. He looked looking fitter.
Now he looks
better. He looking fitter. Now everybody could say, they talk to somebody and he put on 10 pounds. But when Reels said it, or Reels is a hater, Reels is coming for him and how disrespectful he's talking about weight and whatever. They're fucking athletes. We can talk about their bodies.
I know.
It just here's the thing.
Bad quality play from the men.
It was really, but this is what I'm talking about. That you let these two old mofos who has been here you let them roll up in the finals on experience alone. Not on tennis.
Yeah.
For sure. Grigor, you were the defending champion. I mean, it just goes to show you, like, this is what it tells you, like, the level between the top 4 guys, even though they're struggling. Because let's be honest,
even when they're playing D-tennis,
they're still better than the A level.
They're still up there. They're still up there. And this is why Rafa can tell himself at 32 or whatever himself with his broken down body, I have a legit chance at the US Open because who's not come for me? I have to.
It's the complete opposite.
I have to move my body for Nole.
Nobody's gonna come for him. This is what I saw when I looked at this. When I looked at the tournament, and I was like, Rafa was smart to pull, because Rafa rarely defends hardcourt titles. I don't think he's actually defended any. But I looked at him, and I was like, he has a legit shot of defending this US Open title. He really does, and that's not even his best surface.
Right.
But he legitimately has a chance because all you have to do is not even look at him, but just look at the other people.
Yeah. So like this is the exact opposite of what's happening in the WTA.
Work your way up in there and just hope Delpo lands on the other side because
Please, Delpo has not done.
Here's the thing.
Delpo's not doing anything.
Right.
Rafa isn't afraid of Delpo. Rafa needs Delpo to take care of Federer. So he don't want Delpo on his side of the draw.
No, please. Delpo doesn't do anything. If Rafa sees Delpo across from him, as long as it's not an Olympics, it's gonna be just fine. Delpo is good for a couple good. Listen, Delpo was up.
Yes, I hear that
on grass. A big guy, 2-1 on grass.
I hear that, Andre. But what I'm saying, Rafa doesn't need Delpo in front of him to take care of Delpo. He knows that's a done deal. He just needs Delpo to take care of somebody else. And that someone else is Federer.
You don't need to worry about Federer. Listen, people need to recognize Federer is now 37, okay? Every day he gets a tad slower. Like, let's just be honest. I looked at Federer's play today and I was like, oh shit. Like, I was like, oh my God, is this the end of the road? Because honestly, because like the serve was keeping him alive. That was about it. And when the serve went away in this match, which is what it eventually did, there was no game to be had, right? There was none because his return game was shit all last night, the day before, whatever. And so now you're looking at it and like now, and Novak can put pressure on your serve. And once he didn't have the sureness of his serve, I mean, how you gonna lose? You gonna lose your serve from 40 love up? I mean, come on now.
Right.
Like that's
I'm just on the amateur hour at the net. Amateur fucking hour at the net.
But he's like a touch slower. Like he was a little bit sprier than I expected because he wasn't last night. But like he's a touch slower. This is now best of 5 U.S. Open. You guys tell me who's gonna check Rafa at the U.S. Open? Kevin Anderson is gonna check Rafa.
It's gonna have to be Sasha.
I mean, Sasha's gonna check somebody. Nope. Nobody's gonna check. None of these kids are gonna check any of these.
Because here's the thing: Sasha's gonna be up 2 sets to love, and then Sergey's mind gonna wander. Then Nick is gonna be up 2 sets to love, and then Nick's gonna be upset that Rafa goes to the bathroom. You see, these guys can't marshal their attention for 5 sets. Shit, they can't even do it for 3 sets. Listen, they can't even do it for 3 sets.
It's gonna be a shit show in New York. You know why? Because it's just gonna be experience. That's the only thing that's going to get people through. I think second week, you'll probably get a Delpo there. Probably get a Nole for sure. Rafa. Federer, you never know. Depends on the draw. Because given his form, just going to depend on the draw, right? And because people have enough recognition of Federer's game, they know it well enough. They study it. They want to get it.
Right.
And then that's what you've got. And so what person's gonna bring some experience to get themselves? Grigor?
All I'm just wondering about is just I don't want it to be a Nole Rafa final.
It probably
because you know what? That's gonna be 5 hours of shit, and that's gonna delay the podcast.
It doesn't matter. But honestly,
it matters to me because I got shit I want to do afterwards.
That's fine, but at this juncture, we should not be planning a Nole Rafa final, but we are. We should be thinking about some of the young boys coming up, but we can't even think about it.
We automatically assume that they're just not going to make it.
Because we have been right. We have been right all the time.
Let's move forward. Let's not get
stuck.
The
final was disappointing. It was a disappointing final.
It was disappointing.
I expected this. And you know what? I'm going to say this. And this is for all the peekaboo bitches who are listening to the podcast and don't admit it. They're going to be acting up and being like, expecting. I am happy that Federer lost.
Why?
Because I tell you why. Because, in the past, Nole knows his real problem has always been Federer, right? Federer is the only person who can really, if Nole is at his best and Federer is at his best, he knows that Federer is the person who can really get into his head, right? Because Federer has the variety of his game and whatever the case may be. He can't do the things with Federer's backhand as Rafa can do with the backhand. Federer would slice that shit and it'd be all kind of problems for Nole. So Nole has been learning to be patient, right? He just, I could lose the battle and win the war. No one's interested in the Masters series, semis, or Doha, or Dubai, whatever. We count in the finals, the major championship, the major win. So if you check out, so Nole, I think in 2015, I think it was, they were even Stevens, right? Federer won 2 and he won 2. but he won all the big tournaments. He won all the bigger, more prestigious tournaments. No one remembers Federer beat Nole straight sets in Dubai. No one remembers that. Played solid tennis. But I mean, but that doesn't matter. That is not on the spreadsheet.
No,
that
I hear you.
That doesn't get on the spreadsheet. In London, Nole did the same thing. He watched Federer in Cincinnati in 2015, in fact. Federer brought out the saber in 2015 in Cincinnati. And everyone was just like, oh, the saber, the saber. I mean, it was serve and volley, but people had to rename it because tennis was invented in 2011. And Nole was just like, all right, bring that saber shit to New York City. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen over here? Same shit. Nole grabbed that title, and nobody remembered that Federer got to the finals. Then we go to London. Nole lost that round robin match against Federer, and he took it easy. Didn't say anything. And in that finals, it was a shit show. Federer had no chances. So I'm hoping for the reverse. People who win Cincy, let me be like Serena. Oh, you won Rome. Okay. You won Madrid. Okay. You won Cincy. Okay. But no one remembers or care about those things. You got to win the US Open. That is the hardcore title. Quick question. Who won who won on the women's side last year at the US Open at Cincinnati? Who won? You just remember Sloane Stephens won US Open. Who won Cincy last year on the men's side? Grego.
It is not
Grego didn't what did Grego do at the US
Open?
Open?
But you made a better point off air earlier than just saying when you win a smaller tournament.
No, I'm just simply saying.
Wait, let me finish. You and Andreen both said that Novak takes losses to Federer and studies them and comes back. That's the bigger, but you're not saying that. You're saying all this
other stuff. That's what he used to do. That's what he used to do. He used to take Federer always unleashed his strategy.
Exactly.
He always used to unleash his strategy pre the US Open. He would test out what he's doing. And normally you would see it. It
was just taking him a long time to get there.
Taking notes.
Taking it in. So he's willing to lose the battle to win the war.
So really what you're hoping for is that Federer will flip do the same thing for the US Open. And I get it. But
not only that, too, because overall, Federer cannot take away from this week. Had Federer won this title, Federer would have felt, you know what? Okay, my B game was good enough to handle the men on the tour. What I'm happy about, Federer should take over from is like nothing worked. I was a shit show. I need to go back to the drawing board for the US Open. And that's what I'm excited about. That Federer has to go back and retool everything.
You're crazy. I
don't think he's going to say he was a shit show.
I know that. I know Federer is 37. I understand.
37-year-old is going to go retool his game, Reels. It's
when
not, he's not 20.
Okay. No. You're misunderstanding. That he's going to work on the things that he needs to. He needs to work on his serve. Get it a little better and more surety and whatever the case may be.
His serve was solid the whole week. That's the only part of the game that worked.
In the final, that's it.
That's it. In the final. So I don't know how much better his serve is going to have to be. I'm just letting you know, though, that we cannot keep having these expectations about Federer. Like, I mean, it has to be.
I don't care personally, but I'm just saying if Federer works his way into the second week and gets himself to the final and he faced Nole, I think Federer's going to do better.
It's 5 sets. He's got more chances and more time. That's the only good thing about it.
So, he's not going to go change
I'm not
anything,
worried.
Though.
I wasn't mad that this was a loss of Federer. I really
okay.
wasn't.
Well, all right.
I really wasn't.
I think it's good for Novak. I think Novak is on the way back.
The golden shower. What's it's called? A golden slam?
I think it's a golden shower. I mean, it can't be golden because there's no Olympics in it.
I don't know why that happened.
I think it's just a master slam. He's won all the masters.
It's not a slam, though. Slam is just a major.
Whatever the fuck it is. It's a masters. He won all of them. It's not golden, though.
It's a master son. That's what we're going to call it.
I'm going to call it
a master son.
I'm going to call it a master shower. Whatever the
Master my
shield.
God.
Maybe let's call it a master shield.
I'm just gonna say that Novak Djokovic is the first man in the Open era to ever win all Masters 1,000 titles. How about we just call it what it is?
And he's probably the only man who ever really cared about it.
In the best of 3 era.
Okay, whatever. I don't care. I mean,
yes, it's good.
For him.
I don't think any other man really cared.
They all care. I think it's
they all
silly for you to
try.
say
It's nice.
that they don't care. Listen, if they didn't care, they wouldn't be out there playing.
Trying
Everybody
it,
wants to
It's
win.
mandatory though. You have to play it.
It is not mandatory. They
It
chose
is.
this as
Yes,
a
it is.
career.
It is.
For some it is. For
It
some
is.
it isn't. It is. It's mandatory for everybody except for the ones who are over 30 something.
You're
No,
only
I
allowed to
mean,
miss
it's
one.
not mandatory in the sense that, you know, this is your career. This is what you're doing. This is what you're supposed to love and want to be good at. And therefore, of course, they want to win.
Listen, I think it's nice that nobody has done it. I just feel sad about it because I don't think anybody really cares. But I think it's, you
His
know,
wife does.
she does. And I think the tournament does. I think, listen, he was inevitable. It was inevitable that he was eventually going to win it. And I think it's a great thing that he won it against Federer because Federer is the person who was the holder of it for that many years.
Well, and he said that's what he wanted. Novak said that.
From Federer. If you're going to take it from Federer, you got to take it from him. You got to
take it from his
won it.
Cold dead hands.
Listen, I think it's great. I mean, I don't even the tracking of these things. This one. We never heard about this before. Remember, there was a whole time when they were trying to tell us that Novak was doing something at the Australian Open, and nobody had ever tracked it before, and then they started tracking it, and I was like, okay.
Yeah. So what are we gonna have? Silver Masters holders and bronze as well? Like, come on,
he's a master, son. I'm telling you, he is.
I'm gonna assume that Rafa's like really I think Rafa's only maybe he needs to win Paris or something to do this.
No, not Paris. He needs to win Miami.
Oh, is that all?
I think it is.
That's hilarious.
Never won Miami.
Oh wait, Rafa's won in Paris.
Does he ever play late evening time? He might show up there for that, but
I'm sure he's the only one that's ever done it. I feel good about that. That's good. Oh well, that's so good.
It's like Maria. Like she just
stop
so,
it.
So Novak has done two things that the other great players of his era have not done. He's won all
the ATP to make up stats.
Yes, but that too. But he's gotten all the Masters, which is a thing, and then he's also held all slams at the same time.
Yes, and you see, Nole, there was no need for a spreadsheet for that, Nole, fam. No spreadsheet was needed.
It was easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Just 4 and 9, easy numbers.
We have to congratulate him for that. We have to
congratulations, Novak. All right, done.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, at one point he almost held all of them at the same time, and then roll up in Cincy and didn't win. Probably. That might have been a thing.
Well, probably because he'd never won, so that had, whatever.
It was that time.
But
so when we track stats, and Novak, unfortunately, that fan base has killed the stats because they've just made it joyless.
Well, what people need to understand is that you can always sway stats to look however you want them to.
What you want them
and they're
do.
fucking pointless. I mean, they're not. I shouldn't say they're pointless. They're not pointless. But you can't always use them to prove a point.
I think at the end of the day, people are going to realize that no one's going to remember stats, and that's what's sad about it because
the stats. Because a lot of the time these stats have all these weird conditions.
Yeah, remember who won. That's what people will remember. Do you think
the average person who played, the average ranking of the player who played Federer was like 50. Stanley is 151.
Oh my god!
Guess what? That was kind of the best match of the whole men's tournament.
It was the ESPNification of like tennis. It's like these weird stats, and that's why now they can't say anything on tennis on TV. They just talk about these weird stats, and that's all they.
And that's the thing I find really odd because tennis is such a weird sport. Like you could not lose any service points, right? Mm-hmm. But you still lose the match, right? Like you can still, it's one of those weird things about tennis,
and they don't pay attention to those things. They pay attention to the oddest numbers pieces, and you're like, well, you're not really telling me much about what's going on.
It's because they don't want to have to actually watch the tennis and talk about that.
I can tell. Can I tell you? True. I seriously had to mute. I had to do serious mute the final because Fowler and BG together offer no tennis nuance whatsoever.
I find Chris Fowler to be here like the weirdest fanboy, and he's not even a fan. That's the thing. He's not a fan of. He just like one. Like those
rivalries.
Those movies like where those 80s movies, rom-coms, like where you would have like the big jock who was really dumb, but he was just like a sidekick. Almost like in Beauty and the Beast, Gaston and LeFou. that kind of behavior, that's how I see Chris Fowler and BG. Yeah,
Cut
BG,
it
what do
out.
you gotta say? What do you gotta say, BG? How is it going? Just like BG got nothing to say. He doesn't say anything intelligent. Stop asking BG
All
to say
right then.
something. 'Cause you can make an assessment yourself.
Oh,
But anyway,
no.
as we move forward, so on this Friday we have our wrap. No, we have our draw show live at 9:30. In my mind, I keep imagining it's always 9 o'clock, but Andrina shows me it always starts at 9:30 because colored people just never on
Oh my
No,
God.
you know what?
No, it's
Honestly,
because we're in different time zones. That's why,
Yeah, it
Reels.
I
is.
think it's
know.
also because I usually work from 9 to 5,
Right,
and
right.
it usually takes me. But now that I have a job that I work in a very flexible space, it could theoretically happen at 6 if you all needed it to.
At
We
9 o'clock.
don't.
It's 9 o'clock. I
But
like
you
that.
he does not. Okay, you guys are okay with 9:30.
Yes.
So we're looking
Understand
forward
that.
to
We
it.
look
This will be
forward to
really
that.
great. I think for the first time, the draw really matters.
It will
Really?
matter.
Well, because I think people have I don't think you have the sense
Oh,
that
there are a
people
lot of
are.
kind of floaters floating around the place. Because
Yeah,
Stanley
I
is
think there are
now a
lots of
dark horse.
Yes,
I mean,
they're
can you believe that?
floaters. Yeah, they're floaters out there. Somebody's gonna get rid of your fave and then lose the next round.
Okay.
I don't know. Do they have any discretionary seating for Serena? I think there might be.
Well,
There will
apparently
be.
Pamela said that she was supposed to ask Katrina about that, what they were gonna do, but I don't think
Yeah,
that. I don't think there has to be one.
wait, yeah, I think I actually opened up and saw the seed. I saw the seating for the US Open on the women's side, but I'm not into oh yeah. I don't think she's not Serena at this moment. Venus is at 16 and
Serena's in
Serena
20
is at
something.
25. The US
Yeah.
Open, she's at 25. I don't know if that's going to change anytime
They didn't
soon, but
change
that's
it
what
in
it is.
2011.
I don't know, but I thought there was a question of it being on the books, but for now it's not. It has not
Because in 2011 she was the 23rd seed, and she played Vika in the third round, and that was problematic.
Can I just say, it's interestingly, so the 25th seed is Serena on the women's side, and the 25th seed on the men's side is Milos Raonic.
Oh wow.
Venus is the 16th seed on the women's side, and on the men's side, it's Kyle Edmund. Just weird when you think about the names and the lists of people. If you look down at all of the women and the seeds, I mean, they've all had really amazing runs in the tournaments on the women's side, and on the men's side, not so much.
Yeah, well, we just
Jack
talked
Sock.
about that.
Jack Sock is seeded 18. You know what I mean?
Girl.
Weird.
I'm surprised he's seen it because has he won any match this year?
I'm sure he's had one or two.
just one or two.
That's the Paris curse.
Listen, you get
So
that
Friday
weird
at
thorny
9:30.
trophy. It's a mess.
Anything else you want to talk about? Or we can, save it for later. We can talk about the.
So 1 second. I think one thing I want to ask Janina. You've had some time now back home to reflect a little bit on your time there as covering the tournament. How was it for you overall? Tell us the tea, lady, really.
I mean, overall, it was good. It was good. I think for what we do here on this podcast, I was successful.
Except you didn't get Federer to say Federer
You cut it out.
Cut it. Cut it out.
But I mean, I don't feel any different than what I told you guys before. It's really not something that I would want to do day in and day out, week after week, because at the end of the day, when you are in press, you're not watching tennis. So, it is a unique perspective. It's in terms of what you hear from people, off the record even. But if what you want is tennis, you don't get that. Yeah. So it's like you trade access to one thing for another, and that isn't something that I would be interested in doing all the time.
I understand it. I totally do, because it's like you going to a tennis tournament, you really are there to see tennis.
Yeah.
It's like that was the one thing I noted.
Especially when we're a fan-based podcast. We're not trying to be like, news and that sort of thing. Because something you'd like to do again, but not necessarily like for other tournaments.
No, I would do it, but I would have I knew by day 2 that I needed a better balance. that I could not do what I did the day before, the first time, that was not going to work for me. And, so.
Good to know, though. Those are good things to know.
I did. I mean, so, it was good. It was good, but you have to know what you want going in. And I didn't know. I didn't know what to expect. Okay. I didn't know exactly what I was going to get out of it. I really thought that I was going to be an observer more than a participant. That wasn't really an option. I didn't feel, well, of course it's an option. I mean, I could have said nothing. Yeah. I did see people do that, and that's okay. But that was an uncomfortable thing for me to be. I felt that if I was going to strictly be an observer, because the space is so small and everything is so intimate, I felt if I was going to be an observer, then I was going to be, then I felt like I shouldn't be there at all. I really, I was annoyed at someone who was sitting next to me and didn't ask one single question. And I mean that literally, not one question. So it's like, why are you here? You can't be here solely to record, because it's not, this person wasn't a photographer. Sure, there are people in the room that don't speak, but they're there to get video and they're there to take pictures. That's what they're there for. This was a person who was there for a newspaper and never said a word. Why come? I mean, that I don't get. So, but I definitely, you have to know what you want going in. It would be good to have some expectations. The one thing that I will say, and I talked to a few different people about it, and it seems to be just the way that it goes, but it's a very sloppy process. I basically got on site. I knew where to go just because I'm familiar with the grounds. So I knew where the credentialing office was. And I basically was given my credentials and told, have a nice time. There was nothing given to me. Like I told Courtney Newen and I had a conversation about this. And she said, this is really how it is all over the world, no matter where you go. And it would be nice if when you got your credentials, you also got maybe handed a piece of paper that says, these are the rules, or this is what we expect of you or don't expect of you. This is how it works. Like, I got nothing. Nothing. Okay. No one tells you where to go. No one tells you the process of what to do when you find the building that you're supposed to be in. No one told me where the interview rooms were. If I didn't know anybody on the media side of things, I wouldn't have had a clue. If I just was some random person that showed up from some far corner of the earth, I would have had absolutely no idea where to go at any given moment. I wouldn't have known what building to go to. I wouldn't have known what rooms to go to. I wouldn't have known anything. And I think that that's just poor business. Just really, really poor business. I don't want
them is that they don't need to, because it's the same set of people who show up all the time. Really?
Yeah, it might be.
Probably.
It might be that history of just the same.
But there's always going to be someone new there. I think even when you have somebody, even when the core group of people is consistent, I think no matter where you go, there's always going to be at least one person that's never been there before. I think that's probably safe to say. And I don't want anybody to hold my hand and give me a tour. But honestly, to say in this building located on this place on the map, on the 3rd floor, are the interview rooms. This is where you go to store your space as a media person. Like, none of that happened. And that would be very, very helpful.
How about maybe it might be, I don't know, maybe they don't really regard the press as anything, because I mean,
I think it's just different.
No, I don't think that's it. I just think that they don't care.
It might just not be something people think about. They don't think about the prep work that is involved. It's amazing how little managerial thinking goes into lots of spaces, and so this just might be one of them. And
especially in legit real work in the corporate.
Yeah. So you also have to think about who runs a space. I think if, like, for example, if a former journalist probably took this on, you'd probably get a different experience. That person be like, you know what, I recall what it was like when I started. I had no idea. So I know from now on, when I do this, I'm going to offer like a one pager. I've gone into many job situations where there's no prep work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they just don't do it.
Yeah, and I'm like, how are you all making money? Are you all serious about making money? Because I'm seeing money left on the table here all the time.
Well, and I mean, and just little things that would make things run smoother and look more professional. I don't remember if I shared this or not, but you know, when we did the coaches roundtable, there was the nameplate that got switched out, and then one person came in. When it was over, they said goodbye, they left, and the next person came and sat down. I understand that they expect you to know, as someone covering the in press, that you should know who this person is. But when you just have people get them in, get them out, get them in, get them out, there never really seems to be a definite end and beginning, which is also why I felt stuck and I felt like I couldn't get up. I thought it would have run much smoother and it would have been helpful to me, to probably other people, if when, you know, Nigel Sears walks in the room, someone introduces him and says, this is Nigel Sears, coach of whoever. Because I found myself, there's someone sitting down with a name, but the truth is, unless it's a top player, we don't always know who's coaching them. We don't get to hear about them. We don't get to hear from them. Or if you're right, or if they're still with that person. And there were several times, and I don't want to take anything away from people who are like, well, I know this inside and out. But there were times where someone came in, sat down, and it took me to listen to other people asking questions before I knew exactly which player that they were with.
So they didn't go in order at all, right?
They didn't go in the order of the press or of the media release, the email that we got. But does it really take that much to say, you know, this is Michael Taylor, coach of whoever? Who does he coach? I don't even know. Keys? Was it Madison Keys? Is that who he coaches now? But I mean, that just seems like the right thing to do when someone walks in the room and they are your guest, to introduce them. And then it also gives you a definite beginning and ending for the interview process. And that didn't happen. So that's just little things that I was like, gosh, there are things that could make this so much better. And someone says, maybe you should send an email. I don't think I need to be stepping on anybody's toes telling them how to do their job.
Because these are simple things that, you know, like, duh, everyone should have thought of this.
Well, but you know what? Some people that I talked to about it said, I agree with you. And some people said, you should know who they are before they come in. So there's two sides to it. Like, do your research.
First of all, they didn't go in order. And secondly, like, how would you know who they are before they come in if you can't see the person?
Because they changed the name tag before they got there.
So someone is well aware of who is coming in despite it going out of order and doesn't say anything. God damn. Simple. That's simple. That's just bullshit.
So, I mean, just little stuff like that could make the whole process
flow nicer. How was the food there?
The food was nothing. I mean, so the perk of being media is you can buy a gift card for the food court and you get 50% off. So that's nice. You buy a gift card for $10, there's $20 on the card. But what they actually keep in the press room isn't anything. I mean, they give you water and stuff in Powerade, and then they give you just little stuff, fruit like bananas, grapes, apples, and chips and pretzels. Like that stuff is. I didn't see any pineapple. Oh. So all that was, you know, stocked all day. So in the morning, there's bagels and toast, and you could have that. So, I mean, if you needed to eat there, you could. No bacon, no eggs. Sorry. But, you know, overall, like I said, it was a good experience. It is something that I would do it again. But I would definitely be more aware of managing my time in the press room and out, for sure.
Well, you live and you learn. I'm so happy you had that experience, and
I'm glad you did too. And you know, at some point
you got to see Tony, and you got to see Chad,
Yeah, I got to see, and I got to meet Angie, who was, new. She's super sweet.
Well, since it's in the books, it's in the books.
It's in the books. We're done. Moving on.
We're not going to remember it tomorrow.
Janina needs to stay next year until the very end because when she leaves, faves fuck up.
Yeah, good things happen when I'm there.
Also, it sounds like the crowd. It feels like the crowd was beastly. Sounds like they were a little low rent, but
well, Simona was in the finals, so what do you expect?
Oh boy!
Well, she told her people to behave last year, so last week. So
do the same. Anywho, so this
so be prepared for a essay about all these like 50 tweet what do you call it? What do they call those things?
Listen,
thread about how Fed fans cheer when nearly double faulted.
I don't care. But the only thing about this is I really need Twitter to fix itself because I'm starting to see tweets from that people liked, and I absolutely have zero interest in seeing tweets other people like, and because some people I follow apparently hate Federer. So that's some bullshit on my Twitter feed.
Yeah, and
fix yourself.
Let's just put it out there, people. Stop sending out hateful tweets, and
No, it's fine. I hate your faves, I'm sure. So I'm probably.
Oh no, I wasn't talking about that.
He wasn't talking about that.
I was talking about like literal hate, racist hate.
Let's not get into that.
Trying to kill people out there.
Yeah.
And also, let us just put it out there. Sergiy Stakhovsky is not a homophobe, nor is he anti-feminist.
I'm not even going to make any of those claims. Let's just say Sergiy Stakhovsky made a claim about there's always a successful man behind a woman, and I don't see what is different about that than any single thing that has been happening on the WTA tour about their men coaching for years.
Thank you very much. The numbers out there, like y'all are mad at facts, okay, people?
I'm letting you know that's the narrative that you have created on the tour around women and their coaches. And if somebody picks up on it and doesn't pick up on it in the way you wanted them to, well, boo-hoo. But that's
y'all don't even credit or seen. Y'all just say she's Venus and Serena's mother, and they have been saying she's their coach. And Janina, why do you at that coach's round table? Were there any women there?
None. Zero.
Did anybody mention a woman that should be coming in and just wasn't in that day?
No.
It is what it is. So let's just, this is what happens. I mean, it may sound ignorant to say that behind every successful woman is a man, but not in this case, because that is what happens when you highlight the coaches on this tour as a women's tour. And so, you might want to think about that. I think we have some interesting questions we'll pose and think through maybe come mid US Open week.
Yeah, because I'm sure it would surely come out again.
I'm sure. And then there's also the Davis Cup debacle. We're not going to get into that.
Yes. My God, I completely forgot about that Ninja, and that is my fault.
Yeah,
that's okay.
That the Davis Cup has been having problems for years. People have been complaining about Davis Cup for years, and someone has decided to try to solve that problem. Are they going to be successful? Probably not. But you know what? Tennis will live and learn. You know what?
Oh, you know what? Tennis, y'all can't complain on Twitter. If y'all have legit complaints, Twitter is not HR. It's not HR, people. Okay? You're going to take it to the right arena.
I want to know if what I think the players need to learn from this example is that they need to figure out a structure for the various bodies that they interact with to listen to them.
Exactly. Their voice to be effective and not just trying to send a message to a man to try to advocate for them on the thing.
Exactly.
What's that guy? He ain't doing it. What's his name?
I don't even know, but I'm just saying, like, whatever your structure that's in place to let
it's not working.
It's not working at all.
And I would like somebody to take the lesson from the Davis Cup and really take that to heart and say, you know what? They are not hearing us. What can we do? You guys are selfish bastards. And so I know people will not boycott, because think about boycotting the US Open. Nobody's going to boycott the US Open because they're afraid if I boycott, Nole's going to win. So no one's going to do that. But you all need to really come together and decide what power you all have as
because here's what people, it's $3 billion. And when somebody says $3 billion is coming where I work, I need to see receipts. I need to see breakdown.
Well, did you read the New York Times piece? I just want to point out the New York Times piece with Chris Clary. He talked about how back in the day, the ATP got into a situation where they were promised several $1 million from a Swiss company that went belly up. So the question in the book is, you better hope
that this money is really coming through.
Actually makes an appearance in a bank account somewhere. Because you signed on the dotted line about something, and nothing is ever promised, really, right? Future monies, who knows? But what's the guarantee?
And they have signed over control. They have literally signed over control to the organization. It's true. And this is just a complete venture capitalist sort of enterprise.
Which is fine if that's what tennis needs. But I'm just saying, I just think, none of us knows whether it's going to work, right? We don't know. And it could turn out to be the best decision. But I think the most important thing is it's not so much the decision. It's the fact that people weren't able to feel like their voices were heard in the decision. And I think that's really important.
And I would say that most of these players didn't make a valid attempt.
I think you don't know that. You don't know that. You don't know that.
Just say something.
You don't know that.
First of all, you can't say that because they did. The Australian Open has been protesting about this for a long time, for months. The French players have been talking about it for months. Everyone who has not wanted this to happen have tried to use it. They've tried to use the Twitter platform to talk. They put out newspaper articles and dear letters. So you can't say that. The question is the structure
effective? What they were doing was effective.
Yeah,
fair point.
They really were. I've heard people grumbling and hating this for a long time. I do think that people have to recognize, though, there is a silent majority of people who actually wanted it. Your Players' Council leadership were not averse to those changes. Novak Djokovic didn't say no to this. He didn't not like it. Andy Murray actually was quite agreeable to it. These are the people who are leading the ATP Council.
They are like the Trump 52% of black women. They don't say anything and then silently go along with it.
I'm just saying that when asked out loud to talk about their position, they actually established that they were okay with those changes. So the question becomes, did that group represent you well? You got to ask kinds of questions. That's really the thing. So I hear players grumbling, but think about it. The French players were grumbling, and yet their organization voted for it.
Yep.
And that's
that's that's the messy part. But let's see what comes out about it over the next. I think more people will be asked about it at the U.S. Open because there's going to be more people to ask.
And it is an ITF event, right? So
So we'll see what happens there, and then
let's find out.
But here is something, and I just want to put it out. Please, people, when y'all are crafting your narrative, y'all can't blame Labor Cup for this shit. You just can't.
Problem predates Labor Cup. I just want people to get over that part. So confusing. It's like I've been hearing people complain about Davis Cup for the last 5 years. I wrote a piece about Davis Cup 5 to 6 years ago. I lobbied for the fact that it was a pointless thing, but people have been complaining about Davis Cup for many years, and part of it has been about the scheduling of it. So we just need people to let's stop being of the moment. It's
there's a lot of questions to ask around the new format and whatever, so we'll just have to try to learn about it.
And can we actually see the voting sheet, please? See who voted for who?
I think you can.
No, you can't.
You can't?
Yeah. Oh. That's why there's a rumor out that the British folks actually went against what they said they were going to do. They said they were going to vote against it. That was the rumor. But then voted for it. But no one can tell because the vote is supposed to be anonymous.
Okay. I thought I had read something about
those Trump voters. They were like, no Trump, and then go into that booth, and then there's whoop.
I think the attempt. I think Ben was because Ben wrote a piece about it. I think what he was saying is he could probably extrapolate from the way the weighting of the votes went, who might have voted direction or not. But it's not supposed to be known.
It's supposed to be anonymous. Okay. All right. Well, we will regather on Friday night.
Yeah.
For a Reels
New York
podcast party.
Yeah, Janina, you sound so enthusiastic. I mean, like Naomi Osaka. What's going on, girl?
I know. I'll be more excited on Friday, I swear.
Naomi Osaka of the podcast.
Yeah, girl. We're not having that. We're not down with that. Okay, like we sent you out. You're supposed to be lively.
I'm still recovering.
And we blame you for Federer losing. Interesting.
Bye.
So don't forget, folks, to comment below. I know y'all probably were expecting a funeral, but not really. We just think Cincy was shit.
No, congratulations to Kiki.
And Kiki, are you riding?
I don't do popular songs. Kiki Burton's congrats, girl.
Yep. She just
Nole for your golden shower, Masterson, Kung Fu Master. I don't know what you would call it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, girl.
Golden something for you.
Your wife was excited for you, and that's all that matters.
Really, that's all that matters. World.
True.
I know that's what gets me excited is how my man does on a tour. So that is fantastic. Good luck for everyone traveling to New York. I hope everybody makes their flight.
I hope the weather cooperates with you people, because it'll be a shit show if y'all travel here and it just got washed out.
Oh my God.
We have 2 courts at the New York.
Yes, with roofs. That is true.
So
you'll be good. I don't think there's anywhere else to shelter, but you'll be good. So have a good night, y'all. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Pictures and other stories from